wreck conversation, some deep reactions, please. All this comics narration ain't late to me. A little more talk, a lot less read. A little fight, baby, is what I need. Close the trade, open up your brains. Explain it to me. Explain it to me, baby. Explain it to me.
Hello and welcome to Rhett Conversations. Thank you, Vandello. My name is Josh Wafta, a.k.a. Fallout Perry. And before I introduce my co-host, we've done 45 episodes. This is the 46th episode. It's the beginning of our new season. The Baroness Jennifer Howland is here with us. And both Jen and Leia have decided that my introduction for Leia for this episode, play it for them and get their reaction. I'm going to get video of it here in a second. That will probably be up on the YouTubes. And last season, I did the Ninja Turtle rap from Ninja Turtles 2. My goal was to go above and beyond that. So here we go.
Educators. We educate about graphic novel plots. We're damn good, too. But you can't be any geek off the street. You gotta be handy with clones, if you know what I mean. Earn your likes. Educators! Mount up! It's Fucked Up Book, a clear retcon. Leia C was in the text saying, bitch, come on. We gotta record, got to explain this junk. Apocalypse is, Guy Gardner is a punk. 45 is done and 12 on a go. Jay Wast is about to make some stories get told. Now they're trying to bail, but it's a tad bit late. Jay Wast and Leia C are here to educate.
Oh my fucking god. Shit. Oh, precious.
Yeah.
Is any precious?
Yep.
Bless your heart.
I should also mention that all of us are in the Jacked Up Parlor studio.
Yes.
We have a very exciting weekend planned that Leia came to visit us. Yeah. We're going to go and see some PW Revolver tomorrow, some indie wrestling. But tonight, we are going to do some Black Widow, Kelly Thompson's run of Black Widow, which
it's so good.
Leia and I independently, in talking to each other, we're like, are you reading this fucking book? When it was coming out.
Yes.
Per issue, because it is awesome. So, Jen, get ready.
Strap in.
That's right. All right. So, for those of you who have not listened to an episode of our show before, this is how it will go. The Baroness Miss Jennifer Howland is going to be taken through the plot by our Professor L. Professor L is going to explain the plot of Black Widow, The Ties That Bind by Kelly Thompson. At any point, Jen can pull the emergency brake on the entire show and ask any question, make any comment that she deems worthy. It is then up to me, the assisting professor, Professor J, to then answer her question. If I can't answer it, it goes back to Leia, who probably can because it has to do with Black Widow. But if neither of us can answer, then since Jen is here, she gets to just make up an answer to her own question, and that becomes canon forever. Everybody got it? All right. Take it away, Professor L.
This is now our first rodeo.
Right. 46 on the can.
Oh my god, I can't believe it's been that many. So this run came out really recently. God, when was the
2023 last year?
Yeah. That seems like forever ago, and yet also last week. So Kelly Thompson wrote this, and I love her. I especially love the fact that somebody finally got this character right.
Yeah. There is no messing around with Nat.
No.
In this.
No. This is the most perfect Black Widow story I've ever read in my life. And we have Elena Casagrande in art, and I also appreciate Elena as well, because she made the brilliant decision, really, to style Nat's aesthetic after me in this book. We currently have, this is a podcast, so you can't see me, but Nat and I currently have the same exact hair down to the side shave.
Yeah.
Sure. In fact, I think when I first read this, I think I sent you a text with the screenshot of one of the panels, and I was like, should I sue for royalties?
Yeah, right?
Yes. So, that being said...
Much like how the newer She-Hulk comics really need to pay Sabrina Pandora
yes.
some fucking royalties.
Yes, indeed. So that being said, let's get into it. This is a fairly short run too, but it's so much fun. So we open up in Manhattan, and Nat is getting ready to go on a mission, as she does. We pretty much open up on a fight scene. She kicks ass, she takes names, she leaves.
Well, and the way that it's structured, like we've talked about this before, this is my favorite way to show a fight scene. It's two long panels on a double page spread,
right?
But it's just showing multiple Nats going through multiple people.
Mm-hmm.
Like I'm trying to remember what the other comic we did was, where it actually numbered it, like number 1, number 2, number 3.
Oh yes, I can picture it. Shit, I don't remember that at all.
I don't remember which one it was, but I commented there as well.
Mm-hmm.
But this is my favorite way to do an action scene.
And it's also interspersed by little bubbles where you see a man who could only be Hawkeye because it's a purple background. He's got a bow and arrow, just kind of throughout the fight scene. So he's there. You know, it's what is Hawkeye in the room with you right now? No, he's outside. But he's providing an assist. So the mission is completed. She exits out, meets up with Cap on the rooftop of the building, and then she takes off. She's like, "All right, mission's over. I'm out," and leaves Steve just kind of standing there hanging by himself on the roof of the building.
Steve is also there to cover for Clint.
Yes,
Clint gave her support and then bounced because they're in a fight.
Yes, they are currently not getting along. So Nat heads home, and being Black Widow, of course, she's got some old school tricks to make sure that her apartment has not been tampered with. And sure enough, the tape on the door has been broken. What she calls old school spy nonsense. So she decides that the best way to figure out who's gotten into her apartment is to come in through the window of the high-rise apartment building, scooting along a ledge, whatever. And as she makes her entrance into the building through the window, she is hit by 3 darts and just kind of, collapses. Yikes.
Falls
Off the building. And is, the last panel is, this can't be it. Like, just picture of her falling. We cut to San Francisco 3 months later, and again, royalties. 3 months later, we see a building under construction. It looks to be, I don't know, like in the Soma area. I don't know. And
whatever it is, Elon Musk isn't paying.
No. And we see a bunch of people, construction workers and whatever, getting together. And a woman walks up. "Sorry, I'm late. I brought coffee." And it's Nat. They even refer to her as Nat. But she's busy working on this building. She's got these blueprints and starts talking about fire access and this, that, and the other thing. And
she's wearing her pants low enough that you can almost see her vulva.
Yeah. Elena, this is not how people dress at work. Source me, a person who has a job.
So say we all.
But after having this discussion, this sort of brick thing that's close to the edge of this open, unfinished construction area, there's a gust of wind and it starts sliding towards the edge of the building. Nat manages to, as it's being blown off the side of the building, kind of very acrobatically catches it and pulls it back. And the other construction guys are like, "Holy fuck." It's just like, don't worry, boys. I got this. I saved the day. And everybody is just saucer-eyed at her. She has done something extremely unnatural for
The coffee girl.
Well, no, she's an architect.
Oh,
She's an architect. I was working on this building. So yeah, that's not normal architect behavior. So she's like, yeah, she's not wearing a hard hat. Everybody else is. And she's like, I'm never going to wear that hideous hat. Anyways, I got to go. See you later, boys. And just traipses off, and everybody is astonished. We cut to her again safely on the ground. And she is on the phone with somebody talking about, oh, yeah, I'm headed home. I'm going to pick up some Chinese food, whatever. And she happens to see like a display in the window of a building of a black and red motorcycle. We cut over to Bed Stewie, home of Hawkeye, where
And Pizza Dog.
where Clint is, of course, sitting on the couch watching television, eating pizza, when he sees a news report come across the screen, and in the background, as this woman is talking about this demolition scheduled or whatever, Nat just walks past. He can see her, and he spits out his pizza.
Dare you?
Takes a picture very quickly, and then immediately gets on the horn to Bucky. Bucky hangs up on it.
I'm busy. Click.
And I want to take a moment here to recognize that I absolutely fucking love the relationship between Clint and Bucky, not just in this book, but there's another book that I think we're going to cover this season that deals with just Clint and Bucky reluctantly having an adventure again to find Black Widow, and they can't stand each other, but they also like each other, but they can't fucking stand each other. It's
what they did in the Falcon and the Winter Soldier show is in comics Clint and
Bucky. Yeah, 100%. And
Falcon actually gets along with everybody pretty well in comics.
Yeah, he does. So Clint, being Clint, is like, fine, I'll fucking text you then, and sends him the shot. And within 5 seconds, immediately Bucky calls back and is like, hey, that's her. And Clint's like, yes, I know. I sent it to you. We're not her. They determine that she's not undercover, because if she were, she would never have allowed herself to be on camera. And so, it's they're trying to figure out like what the hell's going on. Like, we got to go check on her. And he says, didn't we just do this? And I believe that is a reference to the aforementioned where we got to go find Nat and check up on her book. We'll be doing later on in the season. So we're kind of doing this backwards.
That's all right.
Yeah, it's all right. Any time with Clint and Bucky is a good time.
Yeah, well spent.
They do know from the news broadcast she is in San Francisco, so she's on the other side of the country from them. They're like, well, at least we know where she's at. And as they're talking about this, we see that Nat is she's purchased the motorbike and is now motorcycling home, as is her habit.
Well, that's impulse buy of the motorcycle.
Right. And so I don't know where she lives. She must live in Tiburon. She goes across the Golden Gate and what looks like through the Marin Headlands to a very, very large, opulent house. So then my guess would be Tiburon. And they apparently are not hurting for money, because when she pulls up, there's a man standing in the door and is like, hey, what the hell is this? And she's like, oh, I thought I had to have it, so good for her. And it's a man we've never seen before. He's pretty good looking. He's got brown hair, kind of an average looking dude. And she's like, sorry, wrecked our dinner, whatever. And he calls her Natalie instead of Natasha or Nat. He calls her Natalie. And then she pretty much just leaps into his arms and they, start making out. So she's clearly in a relationship with this dude. We cut over to it.
He has a very strange way of greeting people.
Shit, I wouldn't turn it down. We cut over to a strange-looking dude who kind of looks like, at first glance, he kind of looks like the Riddler. He's not, but he kind of looks like the Riddler.
I actually thought
the question marks.
I thought Arcade, which is actually a Marvel villain.
Yeah.
Arcade.
Arcade. It's the guy. He's the guy that's there. He's sitting in front of a bunch of monitors and is like, Arcade? Yeah.
Arcade. Arcade was originally an X-Men villain. He's kind of gone to a larger... he sets up elaborate death matches for superheroes, kidnaps them, and then throws them into mazes, basically. He was a joke character that in the last maybe 20 years started to get a little more and more play. Usually he's kind of, a one and done. But yeah, that's his thing. He kidnaps superheroes and puts them through challenges, hence his name.
Arcade.
Okay.
He mentions that this is day 47, and all is well and boring, and he wants to know when they can finally kill the Black Widow. And that is the end of the first issue. They're in Sausalito. That's right. Okay, Sausalito is still a good choice. I've been to Sausalito. Beautiful place.
Is it across the Golden Gate Bridge?
Yes,
Okay.
it's on the other side there. The house is in Sausalito. There's a massive jealousy-inducing kitchen that she's in, just kind of casually strolling around.
With my island.
Yeah.
That looks like an industrial kitchen, like a restaurant kitchen. That's how big that island is.
And the dude is there. They, do a little kissing and she's pouring herself some water and whatnot. And then we kind of see that whoever's observing them through this giant wall of glass, they've got like binoculars or whatever. And, it's Clay, it's Bucky. And they're like, I don't know, like, this isn't what I expected to find. She looks really happy. And Clint's like, well, maybe she's not in trouble. Maybe she chose this. Maybe she chose to walk away and have a normal life and be a normal person.
Nah.
They're in the bushes, like, bickering with each other as they're spying on Nat because they're just they're charming. Clint's complaining about a plant poking him in the butt. Bucky is like, you are the fucking worst at recon.
Well, he says he's the worst at recon because Clint's like, let's just go and knock on the door and go talk to her. And he's like, you have the patience of a small child. And Clint goes, please, I have the patience of a middle-sized child.
So she says, James, I'll be in the garage for a bit. James must be the dude. She goes to the garage. She's in the garage tinkering with something. And the garage door is open. A little odd. But, Clint just kind of walks up and is like, hey, sorry, I was walking by and I couldn't help but notice that motorbike is really cool. You mind if I come in and look at it? And she's like, oh, no, come on in, Natalie.
Yeah, FYI, when she pulls up to this house, there is no place to walk by.
Yeah. It's like a mansion on a hill kind of thing.
Right. Private drive, like
right.
Days. Yeah.
And so he says, I'm Clint. She's like, oh, nice to meet you. And so he kind of inspects the bike a little bit and kind of has some small talk with her. And, they're sitting there kind of chit-chatting like, oh, like, there's, you've got this really nice house. You got this really nice bike, it seems like you've got a pretty good life. She's like, oh yeah, I do. I've got, it's great. I'm an architect. Like, and he's like, did you like it here? Are you happy? And she's like, oh yeah, we just relocated here 3 months ago. It's been kind of a blur, but we're devastatingly happy. It's kind of gross how happy we are. We just really love being here. And then the door creaks open and a toddler walks out. A red-haired, green-eyed toddler.
Child.
A child.
And then from inside you hear, Nat, do you have Stevie? He's escaped again. She's like, oh yeah, I got him. Picks him up. And Clint is like, you have a son. He's beautiful. And the look on his face, it's like somebody hit him with a 2x4. He has no idea what's going on. The guy walks out and, she's like, oh, this is my fiance, James. James is Clint. And Clint just like, what the fuck is going on? Nice to meet you. Thanks for letting me look at the bike. Anyways, I gotta go. And he leaves. He returns to Bucky in the bushes and he's like, there's a baby? And Bucky's like, well, do you think it's hearse? You know, like, what's happening? And he's like, yeah, it's named Steve. The kid's name is Steve, and her fiance's name is James. She seemed really happy. I don't know if we should do anything about this. I don't know if that would be okay. Everything seems normal. Everything seems fine. Like, are we rescuing her? What, you know?
And we fucking everything up for her.
Yeah. So, so that's happening. So we cut to Nat is dressed in a absolutely smashing evening gown. They're getting ready to leave with a babysitter watching the child. And we cut back over to Arcade, who's like, "Hey, we have a problem." They have noticed Bucky and Clint sneaking around in the bushes. And he's like, "Just let them stand around in the bushes for now." Attacking them on her lawn is only going to trigger her. We hired you, Arcade, says a voice from somewhere. So stick to the script. Does anybody recognize the babysitter? Now, the babysitter's kind of distinctive looking with blue hair and horn-rimmed glasses.
Yeah, like a blue-haired Lisa Loeb.
She wants to stay with the child. I got jokes.
She reminds me of Ramona Flowers.
Kind of, yeah. If she had glasses, yeah. So she sends the fiance, the James, off in a cab.
The James.
And has some kind of other small car. When somebody calling for help down an alley kind of catches her attention, and against her better instincts, she's like, this is nuts, but I'm gonna go check it out. And she walks down the alley. She's again in the smashing evening gown.
Yeah, don't do it, Nat. You're gonna rip your
Your
lovely
dress.
Not your dress.
And sure enough, there's some lady being like, attacked by some punks. And they notice her and they're like, get her. They come for her, and there is a fight wherein she hasn't lost a step. All of her instincts kick in. She whoops these dudes' asses. And then is kind of surprised by it. Is like, how did I do that? She manages to take the dudes out. There's just a lot of fighting, a lot of bone snapping, knives, etc. Her dress gets ruined, unfortunately, and then she calls 911. Arrives back at home, all fucked up. The babysitter is like, "Oh yeah, the kid was fine." But Stevie definitely has her DNA because he's a little bit of an escape artist. It's noted a couple times. And so she lets the babysitter go.
The cat name is Logan.
The cat comes in as the babysitter is leaving, and the cat's name is Logan.
Yeah.
On account of the claws, you see. Jokes are funnier when you explain them.
See, everyone, Logan is actually Wolverine.
And we've got a James, we've got a Stevie, and we've got a Logan. She tucks her kid into bed, and you see now that she's being observed via like a hidden camera by some beardo in a hat or like a half mask.
He's not a weirdo. He's a beardo.
He's a beardo. So she puts the baby down, takes the baby monitor, goes back out to the garage, goes to whatever it was that she's been tinkering on, and then realizes that she's made a bomb. And it's like, how did I do this and why? Why have I been making a bomb? And that's how issue 2 ends. So issue 3 opens up with them in their house. It's her and her James fiance, not James Bucky. Really need to be clear here. In bed, and they're cuddling, whatever. And they start to kind of make out, and all of a sudden they realize that
Just a little voice.
just a little voice was like, "Car, the baby is here. The baby shouldn't be in here, or shouldn't have been able to get in here, and yet he has because he's a little escape artist." So they're tending their son. Meanwhile, Clint and Bucky are like, what in the hell are we going to do? If we pull her out of this, she will fucking kill us for ruining her life. But we also don't know how she got there, and she seems to be unaware of how she got there, which is probably bad. So we probably shouldn't leave her alone, but we also maybe should. And Clint is babbling on about this and is like, don't you have anything to say? And Bucky is like, with you talking, who could get a word in? As they're kind of bickering back and forth, trying to decide what to do, a voice from off screen announces that if either of them touch her, I will break you. And you see that it is the White Widow. It is Yelena, a much less merciful widow. And Clint is like, Yelena, hello. And she now joins the party and is like, hey, look, maybe she's chosen this. Maybe she has willingly brainwashed herself into this cover identity. Like, who knows?
I absolutely love that there's this growing number of superheroes sitting in the bushes. I'm slightly confused by this situation.
Outside a house in Sausalito, just like, which should we do something?
Meanwhile, man, people are dying in the 24 hours you all have spent.
They're sitting there like, I don't know if we should do this. Like, well, you shut up. No, you shut up. And then Yelena shows up and is like, both of you shut up. But Yelena informs them that the child is in fact Nat's. That's her kid. She tested his DNA and that's their kid. She has a kid that she didn't have 3 months ago, and this is a toddler. So that's kind of fucked up, right?
Yelena the babysitter?
No.
Yes.
Well,
so
that's the next panel.
Next panel.
Well, I was going to say, how did she get his DNA?
That's how.
Okay.
They met at a bridal shop while she was in this cover identity. And Nat is trying on wedding dresses and crying. And the babysitter, Yelena, is like, I just happened to be walking by and I saw you there. You looked so sad. And, what's going on? And, Nat's like, my life is literally perfect. I have the perfect job. I have the perfect man. I have the perfect kid. I'm going to have the perfect wedding. I have the perfect house. Everything is great. But something feels wrong. Like, it feels like something is missing and I don't know what it is. It's like there's somebody else in me that's like in conflict with what's going on here. Like, I've got this really good life, but I feel like there's something else that's going on I can't quite place. And she's like, I've got everything I've always wanted, and I don't want to waste it, but it's this is just kind of messed up. We cut back over to Arcane's control room, where we see Viper, aka Madam Hydra, who is also there with Arcade, as well as Weeping Lion 2.0 question mark. The Weeping Lion.
Yes, please explain.
I'm not sure who that is, other than from this comic.
The Weeping Lion is a older foe of Nat's that she tangled with in a previous story arc, and I cannot remember for the life of me what the name of it is. But this is kind of like an old thing that was brought back up, and she, in this arc, I believe, killed him, or killed, quote unquote, him, and he's not very happy.
Is he the Beardum?
Yes.
Okay.
He's also there with Snapdragon and Red Guardian, aka Alexei Shostakov. Yes,
in the comic,
very important. Yes, that was one of her earliest arcs, was the fake Soviet marriage of the Red Guardian to the Black Widow. In the movie, it is not that way.
No, it's not.
Which was a little disappointing. I mean, a lot about that movie was disappointing, but David Harbour was great in that role. But yeah, they did not follow my favorite arcs in the comics whatsoever.
I can also not tell you who Snapdragon is.
Oh, okay.
Assassin.
Okay.
So they're sitting around this, ominous table, talking about, hey, is it time to kill her? We've brought her to the absolute pinnacle of happiness. Now we should rip it away brutally. and make her suffer. And so Madame Hydra is like, look, I'm not stupid. I want her off the board, but like, you can't really kill her. Lots of people have tried to kill her. It never works. We went to considerable trouble and expense to trap her in her own personal matrix, and it actually worked. She's been so happy that she has been off the board for the past 3 months, and now you just want to throw it away to kill her? Are you an idiot? It's not going to work. And she's,
This is honestly the conversation all villains should have about all heroes at all times.
Yes, is like instead of killing her, which is the stupid idea, let's just give her everything she ever wanted so she leaves us alone and forgets we exist.
Right.
And of course, Weeping Lion is like, she killed us. She doesn't get to go off and have a nice life. I didn't sign up for that. She has to die.
She hurt my feelings.
Yeah, pretty much. So he's bickering with Madame Hydra about like, I want to kill her. And she's like, no, I have a plan. He's like, we've got something in mind that's much more painful, for her than killing her. And Madame Hydra's like, you idiot. You have murdered us all. We switch back over to Nat, who's pulling in her fancy motorcycle. Her wedding dress, like, tied to the back, in a garment bag.
Sweet.
She's kind of internally berating herself for that move. She's like, this is so stupid. Why did I try to bring my wedding dress on a motorcycle? As she's walking in, it's nighttime, it's dark. As she's walking in, she sees some toys kind of on the lawn and is like, wait, something is wrong. And she very carefully enters the house and is like, hey, James, are you here? And kind of creeps into her own house and sees a smear of blood on the wall. She proceeds through the house, and there's a bunch of dudes in what appears to be the living room, and she gets to work. Those instincts kick back in again. There's another extended fight scene.
It was Hawkeye. The 1, 2, 3, the panel like.
Oh yeah, okay, that makes sense.
Sorry,
that's okay. She throws a knife at one guy and manages to like impale his hand into the door.
Yikes.
He's got like a walkie on his belt, and there's some Russian coming out of it, and she realizes she can speak. She's like, how do I know Russian? And the guy shouts into the walkie in Russian, kill them now. And she realizes that both her husband or her fiance and her child are still alive. They're not dead. So that, that gives her hope. And she brutally elbows him in the face, swipes the walkie out of his hand, and says something in Russian into the walkie. I don't know what. Sorry. Threatening, I'm sure. Gets the gun off that guy too. And just fucking like straight up kills him. As she goes into a compartment that is like above the like cabinets in the kitchen, and retrieves the bomb that she was making earlier that was like built in a smoke detector. And she's like, is this why I made this? Like just in case of this sort of emergency? Why would I? Very curious. She continues on through the house, kind of fighting her way through the house. The bomb goes off, and comes across finally her fiance and her child, who is like, was that a bomb? And she's like, yes, I made it in the garage. And he's like, oh, okay. And he's like, yeah, are you okay? And he's like, yes, but I don't know what's happening. And she's like, well, me either, but I'm gonna find out. Babe, I don't think I'm just an architect. And he's like, yeah, I'm picking that up. All of a sudden, there's like she has like a pain in her neck, and it looks like a little electrical volt sort of thing, and passes out. And that's the end. Or no, that's not the end. There's just a 2-page spread of, it's hard to describe this. So she's passed out, and it looks like a spider's web, but it also looks like a shattered mirror. And there are just every piece of the spider's web is a different panel of some important facet of her life. The ballet school, the marriage to Red Guardian, The early like 1960s Black Widow, the training with Bucky in the Red Room.
I don't see Matt Murdock slapping her on the ass anywhere, though.
Thank God. Thank fuck for that. Yeah, so there's just important things in her life that are all kind of as she's passed out. James is trying to wake her up. Stevie is, Mama, wake up. And we see the villains who are like, hey, you better hope this fucking kills her. She won't have to kill you. I'll do it myself. And that's the end of that issue. So when we come back, James is still trying to wake Nat up, who then just kind of, comes to consciousness and realizes she can remember everything all of a sudden. And the face of her fiance and her child looking down at her, kind of breaks her a little bit. And it's like, holy shit, they're everything to me and I cannot lose them. Like she remembers her past, but also this is still incredibly important to her as it would be. When we go back to our kids' control room, Weeping Lion is like, hey, frying that implant should have killed her and overloaded her brain. She should be a vegetable right now. And Madame Hydra is like, you idiot. Like,
We're all dead.
we're all dead. We need to scatter, disappear forever, and never do crimes again. Like, that's it. We're done. If she's coming after you, then she doesn't have me. So peace. And
So she's the brains.
pretty much, yeah. Madame Hydra is always the brain. Snapdragon is like, hey, look, you can't exactly disappear to witness protection. Like, we should stick together, and then kill her. And Madame Hydra is like, motherfucker.
What part of you're an idiot?
So they're all kind of like, well, I guess, all right, well, who wants to finally fucking kill it? Fuck it, we're doing it live. Back at the house in Sausalito, Nat's like, look, James, I'll explain everything, but we are in severe danger right now. And we need to get the fuck out. So he takes the kid. She's like, hey, just trust me. You stay back. I got this. Sure enough, one of the dudes tries to grab her, and she kicks his ass. More dudes, more fighting, more ass kicking. And James is holding Stevie and is like, kind of shielding his eyes when he turns and sees the babysitter, Helen, otherwise known as Yelena, who's like, yeah, I'm not a great babysitter. I'm just an old friend of Nick. And then Ned makes her reappearance back, and they immediately start strategizing, like, please get them out of here. We gotta go. She gets them into a safe house. The kid and the fiance, and is like, all right, well, we gotta get out of here. He's sleeping. Stevie is sleeping now, but this is not going to be the best place for him. And she's like, okay, well, since he's asleep, let me give you the TLDR. I am the Black Widow, and I am not Natalie Gray. I am, I was abducted in Manhattan, a couple months ago, and I don't know who did it, and I don't know who let me fall. But I do know who caught me. It's these dickbags. And yeah, fucking Hydra. So she says that when she kind of came to very briefly, she was in a lab strapped to a table. And he was there. Her fiance James was there, unconscious next to her in another bed. So I don't know exactly when you were taken. But we were there for a while. We must have gotten some kind of implant, brainwashing, who knows what. They made perfect lives for us, and they managed to genetically engineer a child from the both of us and advance his age to, I think he's roughly maybe 2. He may not have come to us naturally, but he is in fact our kid. He has characteristics from both of us. He shares DNA. We were placed in California as if we had been, just recently moved there. They'd been keeping tabs on us, but all of this was real. My feelings for you were real. My feelings for our child are real. I don't know who did this. I have a lot of enemies, and it could be all of them. I'm sorry that this happened, but I love you. And because I love you, I have to leave you in order to keep you safe. I can never come back to this life. I can never come back to you, and I can never come back to our kid. I have too many enemies, and they will not hesitate to harm or kill the both of you if they can get their hands on you, because they know that you are now a weak point for me. This is excruciating. This is maybe the saddest thing I have ever written in comics, because it really is. If you know anything about Nat, this is the life that she has always wanted. This is very literally this is the biggest fucking punishment anybody could have dreamed up for her, is to have her have all this, have a child, a love, a house, a job, a happy, existence free of the red one, free of, just having a fucking normal one out there, and it's not real. Just this broke my heart. It's so good, but my God. And so she's like, this is the only way to keep our son safe is for me to never, ever see you ever again, either of you. And that will have to be enough for us both to know the other person exists and that we love each other, but we can't ever have contact again. And there's a cough from behind them as this heartfelt speech is going on. And she's like, James, I'd like you to meet friends of mine, Hawkeye and Winter Soldier. And of course, then, we see the panel and they're just kind of standing there and they're like, hey, hi. And it's very cute because she's like, I would like you to meet my James and my Stevie. Hours later, they are all strategizing in this safe house as to how they can get to the bad guys. And they're still being watched, of course, by these bad guys. And even at the safe house. Huh. And so as the boys are James and Stevie are going to bed on the couch, you see from outside there's some crosshairs, and then there is an explosion on the inside of the safe house. Somebody's like rocket launched something into the building. And the final panel in this issue is just a picture of Nat screaming and weeping while being held back by Bucky and Clint, and a horrified looking Yelena as the building catches on fire. So, cheerful stuff. That's the end of that issue.
Final issue.
This is so we open at they're like at a zoo. Nat and Stevie and James enjoying their day at the zoo, having a normal one. And then we cut back over to a shocked Natasha who's face just streaming with tears. Clint and Bucky and Yelena are trying to, like, hey, we got to get out of here. And Yelena's like, we don't have time for you to be nice to her, just slaps her across the face and is like, we have to go now. You can grieve them later. You can mourn these people later. But we got to go right now. They leave. Nat manages to grab Stevie's little toy duck on the way out, takes it with her. This is a bummer. This is a real bummer. Because she's thinking internally about how, the sound of that door closing is the door, essentially the sound of the door closing on this life that she had, that she never even imagined she could have. And like now all of her dreams are dead. That's it. She's done. Meanwhile, on the roof of some other building nearby, Weeping Lion has a big old sniper rifle and is like, hey, look, we don't have a visual, but they left the area. Targets are in the stairwell, blah, blah, blah. There's 3 targets in the stairwell, but do not shoot them. And Madame Hydra's like, well, who's missing? And Weeping Lion is like, Winter Soldier. And she's like, we are all going to die.
I would have told you.
Again, what in the fuck is wrong with you people? It is insane to me that you think the Black Widow has any intention of running after we murdered her family.
The family we created.
Yeah, the family we created to torture her. And he's like, well, but you said it was okay. And she's like, only after you forced our hand, you idiot. So they move on plan B, which is Snapdragon and the Red Guardian just kind of ziplining down. He's like, hey, do you kind of get the feeling that we're being drawn into her trap instead of her into ours? And the Red Guardian is like, man, are you new? Sure enough, the minute they touch ground, Hawkeye lets loose a explosive arrow in between the two of them. They only have time to be like, oh, fuck, before the explosion hits. And Snapdragon manages to get out on the comms that, they've got visual confirmation on Widow, Hawkeye, and Yelena. Still no eyes on Winter Soldier, though.
He just walked off and went home. That's fine.
Yeah, that's bugged to a T.
Yeah,
It's like, I'm out.
Yeah.
I'm tired.
This, by the way, is my favorite panel. Weeping Lion.
Yeah.
He said, yeah.
Yeah. He says, we've got eyes on Hawkeye, we've got the shot, and you can see the telescope of his lens. You can see Clint right in it, and the next thing you see is him screaming as an arrow goes right through that telescope lens, right into Weeping Lion's fucking eye. And then
Had eye on Clint.
And then Clint just saying, Weeping Lion's out. He's done. Nat manages to take out Snapdragon with a gun, and noting that she should have brought a gun because apparently her weapon of choice is a katana. A cool weapon for cool people.
Just ask the new Crow.
Oh, boy.
Woo!
Hot take.
Hot take. Yelena arrives for backup, and he shoots Alexei. And Nat's like, Alexei? And he's like, oh, I wasn't with them. They made me do it. I was trying to protect you by being on the inside. I just didn't know what they were gonna do. And surprisingly, Nat is like, hey, look, I believe you, but it ain't over. You got to get out of here before I change my mind, and you will hear from me soon.
I will kill you later.
Yes, pretty much. There is a cool panel here of Clint just raining arrows down on all the, foot soldier grunts. And the only words on the page are just, watch your six, Nat. But of course, he's always got Nat's six because he's good like that. God bless. I love these three. I would pay good money to just read an ongoing just of Nat, Bucky, and Clint doing whatever forever. Meanwhile, with Yelena, Nat and Yelena are escaping out the building, and she gets up to the roof where Clint is waiting, and is like, hey, do it. He shoots an arrow, building explodes, or catches on fire, really. They make it to an adjacent safe rooftop, and Elena's like, hey, look, I'm out, but sorry for your loss. And she's left there with Clint, and she turns to Clint and is like, Clint, what's wrong? And he's like, that's nothing. Kind of inappropriate. And she's like, well, now you gotta fucking tell me. And he's like, look, I'm gonna be real with you. It hurt my feelings that I wasn't part of your perfect life. There's James, there's Stevie, even the cat was named Logan. There's no Clint, like, at all. And she's like, I didn't name them. The people that did this to me named them. Because leave it to Clint to be like, but what about Clint? What about me, Clint?
There was a moment when Matt Fraction made Hawkeye that changed that character forever, and I love it. Everyone after has to use Matt Fraction Hawkeye, which is a little bit of...
Yeah. He's just a lovable doof who's just like, that's his concern right now. It's like, kind of hurt my feelings. Like there was no Clint friend or lover or cat or dog or whatever. I mean, had there been a dog, that would have been the perfect opportunity, right? Like you've got Logan the cat and Clint the dog, but whatever.
The dog and the cat.
But Clint is, at heart, he's a nice guy. He does care about Nat, and he's like, look, do you want me to stay with you? I can be quiet if you need me to be quiet. Like, do you just need to be around somebody? And And she's like, no, thanks. I appreciate it. I will always love you for being a cool dude, but I need to be alone. And we cut to another safe house somewhere in San Francisco where Nat is just kind of fetal positioned on the couch. And then, as if by magic, there's Bucky. Bucky appears and he's like, it's just me. And she sits up and is like, just tell me. And he's like, it's done. They're safe. And she's like, well, don't tell me where, don't even. So it turns out, there was a machine used to project a hologram. And the building didn't actually blow up. They're safe. James and Stevie safe. They are in Avengers witness protection right now.
Okay.
They're specifically Winter Soldier witness protection.
Which means like there's death and then there's Winter Soldier witness protection.
Right.
Like you can actually be found in death.
Yeah. But Buck is good at what he does. And she knows this because she says, you were the only one I could trust to do this. And here is a beautiful thing. In Brubaker's original run, it got cut short. And in Brubaker's run, Bucky and Nat were in a relationship and he ended it very abruptly because the comic got cut short. And it leaves on this plot thread where Nat and Bucky are in this relationship and she gets brainwashed, and the only part that they couldn't recover, like the only part of her memories they couldn't recover, were her entire relationship with her and Bucky. So in a weird, uncharacteristic move, Bucky's like, no, we're not going to tell her about this. We're just going to let her continue living her life, having no memories of our relationship. It'll be fine. Like, he takes her agency away from her in that, and is like, she doesn't need to know. It'll just, like, upset her or something. And very weird. This is never resolved for, like, a decade in comics, where he quietly pines for her from a distance, but nobody, not a single Avenger, nobody tells Nat, you used to bang that guy. You were very much in love with him. He loves you so much. You don't have to do anything about it, but you should know that aspect of your life. Nobody tells her this. This has pissed me off for the better part of a decade. It is resolved right here, right now. Where they talk about, she's like, you worry about what this, doing this for me, means for you and I. And he's like, sorry if it's selfish, but I always hope that someday, you and I will get back together. And she's like, now you're afraid that these two people will always kind of come between it, like her actual child and her fiance, former fiance, fake fiance, whatever. The person that
Fake fiance.
But she did love him. And she's like, they didn't give him the name James by accident. They knew it would make me feel safe, and that I would trust him, and that I would, that I would love him, and maybe one day we'll get back together. But right now, all I can think about is these people that I've lost forever. She talks about how essentially she's grieving. She's been through it all, and nothing feels as empty as this. She cannot imagine how she can go on knowing that she had these people. And then she just kind of collapses into his arms, and he holds her, and she just kind of cries on the kitchen floor. It is the saddest fucking... But eventually she does return to the Sausalito house to get the cat, to get Logan. And takes the cat, and somewhere in the Pacific Northwest is her fiancé and her actual child, just trying to live their best lives. And she knows that they're out there. He knows that they're out there, and that's got to be it. So weeks later in San Francisco, Elena and Nat are up on a rooftop, because that's where the cool kids hang. And Elena informs Nat that Snapdragon and Viper survived the explosion. The new Weeping Lion, who appears to somehow be the cousins that she killed, merged into a new body. I'm sure that's a fascinating story. I don't have time for that. He lost his eye, but he's still alive. And Arcade is a coward and left before everything began. So they're all still out there. And Elena offers to help Nat with, getting her revenge on these people. And Nat's like, you know what, I'm done with trying to avenge this, my fake life. I don't want to do that. So she decides that she's going to remake herself, and that is where this book ends.
Wow.
Yeah.
Hell of a story.
It is an incredible story. And the writing is really good. I did not do it justice, even though I directly quoted it a couple of times. It is worth reading. It is 100% worth reading. And I don't say that just as a massive Black Widow fan, but just as somebody who enjoys good comics and good stories.
Well, and the reason that you chose this, Jen, is because you have said that, especially MCU, Nat,
yeah,
you've really come around to enjoy it. So what'd you think?
Yeah, it was really good.
It's a very compelling story.
It's very much different than a lot of Black Widow, and I think that it's better because it's more about who she is.
Yeah, exactly. Not only is she given a personality, which is great. A lot of writers do not like to give her a personality, but they do this cool thing where Kelly Thompson manages to skirt this line of like, what if the Black Widow had everything she ever wanted and was happy? She had this really nice little domestic life without it being demeaning.
Yeah.
What if this hyper...
She's not like a Stepford wife.
Right. What if this hyper-powered assassin had a baby? It's not like that. It's very, she has stability. She has normalcy. She has people who love her. She has a job that doesn't involve fucking killing people, like she gets to create rather than destroy, and kind of exploring all that. And then the heartbreak when that's ripped away is palpable. Like you could feel it. It is so well done. Yeah, I could talk about this comic forever. I won't though.
Well, and so, these were the first 5 issues in a 15-issue run.
Yeah.
There are 2 more, graphic novels, and in the second one it's a lot of Natasha and Yelena's relationship, and they take this thief under their wing that like she steals Yelena's wallet and they catch her, and then she's like, oh my god, I want to learn from you guys, and they're like Natasha's like, absolutely not. And Yelena's like, this is the greatest thing that's ever happened
It's
to
like some teen, and that's like, we cannot just have a teen around.
And Yelena's like, yes, we can.
What? I mean, bitch. It's great. Like, that whole run is incredible.
Yeah, it was really well done. I still don't know why it only got 15 issues, though. Like,
it just got canceled. And that happens a lot, unfortunately, especially with female-led comics. They were like, hey, I'm sure it was something to do with sales or whatever, but I have not met anybody that's read this that has thought that it was anything less than spectacular. So yeah, I don't understand.
Yeah, no, I was reading this as it was coming out.
Yeah, me too.
Loved it.
Yeah, I have it in singles. That tells you how impatient I was to read it, because normally I wait till trades. Like 99.9% of the time I'm like, I'll wait, and with this, no, every week I was banging on the comic shop door like, you got my Black Widow?
Yeah. Hey, 5 o'clock Black Widow free giveaway. Yeah, so that was the first episode of season 5. Welcome to it. We are deep into it. Just so our audience knows what's coming up this season, Nightwing, which is the newer Nightwing run, which I've been following and fucking loving. I'm a big fan of the Dick Grayson character, even though I don't generally follow a lot of DC, and this is so good because it starts, there was a big Batman event that I totally missed, but apparently Alfred died. And Dick is in Bloodhaven, where is his city now. But Alfred, you find out, took every penny because he never had to spend money. He lived with Bruce. Bruce also invested money for him, the money that he had, Alfred was a billionaire and left all of his money to Dick Grayson.
Oh my gosh.
So Dick Grayson now has the money and resources to be the new Batman and starts doing things better than Batman did.
So my only exposure with Dick Grayson has been Batman Forever.
Okay.
That's it.
Yeah.
That's all I know.
Yeah.
So what was that actor's name? He was really hot.
I don't remember which one Batman Forever is.
It's the one with Jim Carrey as the Riddler.
Yeah.
And Tommy Lee Jones as Two-Face.
Oh, I can see him, but I can't.
Yeah, I
the
can
actor's
picture
name.
him, but I can't remember his name. It's Chris O'Donnell.
Yeah,
Chris O'Donnell.
Yes.
Chris O'Donnell, yes. I don't think he did anything after that.
No, it killed his career. Dead.
It's so weird.
Yeah, I think he's on like one of the NCIS spin-offs now.
It's crazy.
So we have Nightwing. We have Annihilation, which is Space Marvel. So yeah,
This is a podcast, so you can't see me doing the Orange Cassidy thumbs up to that.
that's right.
I know I'm busy that day.
Your friend Don wants you to explain Age of Ultron to her.
Listeners of the podcast would know that I have known Dawn since we were literally 5 years old, and I have not yet been able to figure out why Dawn fucking hates me so bad.
It's not the movie. I mean,
it's not better.
we will be doing something that we actually did a graphically novel, but I'm going to be explaining Spider-Verse to our friend Nathaniel Payne. The variants, which was Gail Simone writing a Jessica Jones comic, and I'm so fucking happy for it.
Friend of the podcast, Adam Witt, highly recommends it. So I'm excited to read it.
Good. It's alternate reality Jessica Joneses start showing up, and Jessica Jones is very bothered by that.
Understandably so.
I have question marks. Have you decided what you're going to explain to Garrity?
I think it will be the aforementioned, I believe it's Tales of Suspense, which is the first Clint Bucky adventure. If it's not that one, then it may be, there's another, and I can't remember the title of it all. It was very under the radar. There's another Winter Soldier story where Winter Soldier essentially adopts a teen boy who wants to be just like him, and not adopts like form like
Yelena
adopts
like
but
Yelena adopted.
yeah.
Grabbing a teen.
Yeah. Basically, there's a teen that looks like he might be going down the wrong path, but Bucky is here to show him how to be a good guy.
Step 1, get thrown off a train.
Yeah, but it's a really cute story.
And yeah, the heaviest episode this season will be doing Mouse.
Yeah.
Followed. Yeah, we'll also be doing Tom King's Batman run, specifically his wedding.
Yes. I've not yet read.
Yeah, it's really good. Ultimatum, which was the end of the Ultimate Universe, and just because of the way the things shook out, Leia, I'm sorry to tell you, you get to explain that one.
I don't want to. I will pick something else instead.
You can talk to friend of the podcast, Jesse Latour, now.
Jesse'll accept it. Jesse's a good guy. If I tell Jesse, hey, we're gonna do the Kelly Thompson Black Widow run a second time, he'd be like, all right, no problem. Go with God.
Because somebody asked for it, Madam Web. And in fact, there are no Madam Web comics. So I have found the 5 issues that she shows up in that is supposed to be like the definitive Madam Web, and that's what I will be explaining.
Hey, how are you gonna do 5 issues of random Madam Web, and I gotta do Annihilation? And
you want to switch?
And I gotta do Mouse, and I gotta do Age of...
I think
First of all, you know why you're doing Mouse.
Yes, that's right.
I can't do
Mouse. Mouse is going to be less of a... I'll warn everybody right now, Mouse is going to be less of a panel-by-panel explanation and more of just an open discussion.
Yeah.
We're not going to go through 2 full trades of Holocaust memoirs and be like, what did you think? Did you think it was good?
Yeah.
We're gonna, because I found a book done by Art Spiegelman called Meta Mouse, which is a bunch of like interviews and deep dives and whatever that go even deeper into that story, and I'm going to be pulling that in as well. So it's going to be less of our standard format, more of just a let's talk about the Holocaust.
So I'm doing Annihilation. So
okay.
You don't have to worry about that. You just have to read it.
Ugh.
So yeah, if you wanna switch Ultimatum and Madam Web, by all means, you let me know.
Oh God.
That'll be in your court. There's your Sophie's choice for the day.
Speaking of the Holocaust.
And then we'll be finishing this season up with actually one of my favorite comics, which we haven't had Dixie on before.
No, we have not.
And I am excited, and we're going to be doing Gotham City Sirens, which was the first comic in which Catwoman, Poison Ivy, and Harley Quinn came together. It is the genesis of what Harley Quinn has become now in comics, which is a much better, much more stable representation. Well, but a better representation where it's not just, oh my God, I love the Joker so much.
Oh, yeah.
It's a lot of her actually going through understanding she was in a terribly abusive relationship.
I have heard good things about it.
It is an extremely good comic, and for some reason, for a long time, it was out of print.
Huh.
But I have noticed it popping back up. So, really excited to do that one. So that's season 5. If any of them drop out, by the way, or we can't get something happens, we have
Look at you, Dawn.
We have Chris Wolf lined up, wanting to do the next part of Age of Apocalypse.
Fuck, no. Okay, never mind. Dawn, we love you. Come back. If anybody out there has any suggestions on good books we could read, I'd like that too.
Right. Or even if you don't want us to explain it, even if you want us to put it on our list, like, here are some good
Please help us.
We are 46 of these deep, so...
And about 6 of them have been enjoyable.
I mean, I will say, even the ones that were not great stories, I love our guests' reactions to them and our reactions to them, and the fact that we can just riff on them. Some people get very, very upset at this show because we make fun of things like clones and the moon.
Who amongst us has not fucked our best friend's dad?
Yes, absolutely. Or the episode where it was an eye fetish and it ended on the moon and there were clones.
And they gave that one to me to explain the person with an eye phobia.
Anyway, it's going to be a great season. We hope you enjoy. As always, if you want us to explain something, recconversations@gmail.com. Feel free to reach out. We're also very responsive on the Facebook page. You can find us. It is the picture of Mike Tomczak screaming. But until next time, take it away, Vandello.
A little wreck conversation, some deep reactions, please. All this comics narration alienating me. A little more talk, a lot less read. A little fight, baby, is what I need. Close the trade, open up your brains. Explain it to me. Explain it to me, baby. Explain it to me. Explain it to me, baby. Explain it to me. Vandello 2021.